And I'm sure been a bit of a whirlwind here, but to be able to get here, what have sort of the last 24 hours, maybe less than 24 hours, been like for you?
Yeah, it's been obviously a lot of change, but it's good to get here. Obviously, I want to try to try to play tonight and help this group. I'm excited to be here. I haven't played with too many of these guys, but obviously I played against this team a lot, and I know how fast they are, and they're a hard team to play against. So look forward to joining this group.
And just like, what is it like for an athlete to go to maybe where you guys were in the standings in Anaheim to here, where you're in the mix, in the like, what does that do to maybe recharge an athlete?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, regardless of where you are in the standings, I mean, you want to compete and play as hard as you can, but obviously being in a playoff spot, you want to hold that and compete. And obviously, every night, especially this late in the season, it's important to try to get wins at this point in the season. So I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun with these guys, hopefully going on a run.
And how familiar, I mean, you spent so many years in Pittsburgh with Fitzy, right? So do you have that working relationship with him? And like, how much do you know about him?
Yeah, I know Fitzy really well. He was one of the main reasons why I got to Pittsburgh from Carolina when I originally got traded there out of college, and we definitely have a good relationship, and I know his sons really well too. So yeah, it was good to see Fitzy this morning when I first got to the ranks. So always nice to see him.
Brian, this is obviously like a new experience for you getting traded right at the deadline like this. So, what are some of the big challenges right away to trying to get up to speed with what this team is doing and some of the different things that they may do than what you were doing in Anaheim?
Yeah, I think for me, it's not something that I'm going to learn the first game. So I think it's just go out there and play hockey. Like go out there and have fun and enjoy the group and just I think communication is one of the biggest things. I think that's one thing that I always try to bring, always try to do is just talk as much as I can, especially on the ice. So I mean, I think that's one thing I got to lean on. But I mean, I think just play the game of hockey.
For fans that aren't familiar with your style and your type of game, what is that?
Yeah, I think one of my biggest things is consistency. I like to be reliable and give the coaches and my teammates kind of the same every night. Not have too many swings of ups and downs. I think for me, it's based on more of a defensive game with gaps and breakouts and getting out of the zone clean and making take passes and just exiting the zone, getting out of the zone, and giving it to the forwards where they can try to create an odd man rush. So I think simplicity and just defensive minded.
Dilly going up against a former team tonight, what can you sort of tell us? I mean, obviously things are always different from year to year, but about what makes them such a challenging team to play against and why they are so good in the league this year?
Kind of a lot of what I was able to figure out over the last couple of years playing there. Solid team, top to bottom, lots of depth. Great leadership within that room. The head coach I got to know really well in Washington and in Winnipeg actually, and Scotty Arneal is as detailed the coach as you're going to find, has a great pulse on that room. And just top to bottom, I still talk to quite a few of those guys over there. They're having fun, they're enjoying themselves. I feel like they're getting contributions up and down. Their top players have been their top players, and obviously the goaltender they got in net, we've seen what he's done over the last few years. So just a really complete ice hockey team that is getting rewarded for playing well.
You mentioned something there, like they're having a lot of fun, and obviously winning creates like a fun culture. But how important is maybe when what you guys are going through right now, the ups and downs, to like almost try and like embrace that, bring that out again in yourselves as well?
Yeah, you sometimes forget when it's wrapped up in all of the expectations and the pressures and the wins and the losses that we're pretty lucky to do what we do, and to come to the rink every day, to be an NHL hockey player. I think we just got to realize you can't take that for granted, and that you are actually playing for a lot more than than just yourself. You're playing for a city, you're playing for an organization, you're playing for a lot of people that put a lot of time in, fans and little kids that were young Devils fans that are hoping that you do well. And I think, kind of putting that in perspective, being in Winnipeg for 3 years and seeing, Canadian market and how everybody knows almost more so than you how you're doing and how your team is doing and stuff like that. I think for our group to just really understand that, you're going to go through some tough times. Kind of, again, in perspective, we're still in a playoff spot. We're in a good situation. We've just added a good player in Brian Dumoulin over the last couple of days. We're a confident group, even with some of the adversity we've been dealt. And, all in all, we've just got to finish these last 20 games here, 19 games, and on a strong note.
You mentioned Brian. Last one from me. Just what do you know? He said he's not familiar with really many people. What do you know about his game from having played against him, and why is it so important right now that Fitzy has brought in someone like that, especially with unknown with Dougie here?
Yeah, I mean,
The veteran.
yeah, he's been traded now. He was in Seattle for a little bit, Anaheim. When you go to a new team, there's a little bit of a feeling out process, and not just from the players, but the system, the way you play, understanding. It's an important time of year too, so he's coming right in, and there's no real time to just ease your way. You've got to come right into a tough game against the #1 team in the league, really. So. I think just for Brian and for our team as a whole to know that we're adding pieces still. We're not sitting here trading away our best players or trading away guys in expiring contracts. We're right in the thick of it. A guy like Brian again, who I just got to meet for the first time today. I've heard great things about his track record and. Playing a Stanley Cup final against him, that'll be our icebreaker. You can say, he took the ring right off my finger. No, I'm just kidding. But he's, a solid defenseman that I've watched over the last bunch of years, and going to be a big piece of our team here down the stretch.
Sheldon, I'm sure you're pleased that, given all the logistics, you were able to get Brian here tonight, and I'm going to assume that he'll be in.
Yeah, he'll be in. Yeah, long day of travel for him yesterday. They flew from Vancouver back to Anaheim first with the team there, and then obviously got out here late last night. So great to see him get in, and get him comfortable around here with the guys, and have some meetings and discussions with them. And he'll be ready to go tonight.
Meetings, discussions, one thing, but it takes time to sort of grasp what different teams are doing. Is this sort of just go out there, play hockey, communicate kind of thing?
Yeah, you try to give them a quick idea of things that are maybe unique or to us or different to Anaheim. And so Ryan McGill spent time with him this morning, went through that, some 5-on-5 and penalty kill stuff. But yeah, my message to him was just do your thing. He's a veteran player. He's played in the league a long time and has played in different teams, and we'll get him more up to speed with every day that comes. But certainly for today, just try to play with a clear mind.
What's the temperature of the locker room on a day like this, Sheldon? Trade deadline, obviously things swirling, rumors. What's the temperature in the locker room?
I mean, it's a pretty normal day from our perspective, and I try to keep it that way. Certainly for me, it is. I mean, my focus is getting our team ready and preparing for the Winnipeg Jets. That's been my focus, and everything else is happening upstairs and separate from our operation. I think our guys feel. Know that we have a challenge here today, and we've tried to keep the focus on things that we can control, which is the message not only for today but the rest of the season.
Brendan Dillon going against his former team here. What has Brendan meant to this club this season?
A tremendous amount. I mean, he's obviously on the ice. You see how much of a competitor he is, and does whatever it takes to win, and he's there for his teammates, and tremendous leader as well, just coming in. And a guy is, for myself as a new coach, as for a guy like him coming in, that's a culture carrier for you. That helps support the message and message from the coaching staff, from the organization, and then supporting his teammates. So all of that stuff, he's a tremendous guy to have.
Where do you feel his game is at, Sheldon, this year?
I think it's in a good place, and I think he knows exactly who he is at this point in his career. He's going to advance the puck and keep it pretty simple on offense, but just an ultimate competitor. Going to defend his net hard and make sure other players are knowing he's out there, and even he's not easy to play against. So I think every defense needs that element, and he certainly brings it to us.
How will you deploy him? Who will he be paired with? Dumoulin. I'm sorry.
Back
to Dumoulin.
Yeah, he'll be with Kovacevic here tonight. Yeah.
The power play looks different with two new players on it, two, basically sometimes three. What's different about the power play now? There are different things you can do? Is it entirely different that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different dynamic when you don't have Jack, right? Jack is puck dominant and makes a lot of things happen through him, both on the entries and in the zone. So not having him, we changed a lot of things, a lot of our makeup, and had success, the other day, and probably had a little bit of the element of surprise for that. In fact, it works out. Obviously, Hamilton's not available here now, but we had Luke going with that unit, even before Doug's injury. So that was part of the plan, and Luke was part of the meetings with that unit specifically, and that didn't disrupt us in terms of our plan going into the game in Dallas. So it was great to see the guys step right in and execute at a high level, and obviously going to need that.
Some people think there shouldn't be games on deadline day. Is that something you'd like to see implemented in the future?
I don't know. The schedule's tight enough as it is. I think we get between All-Star breaks and bye weeks, or Four Nation breaks and Christmas breaks. We get enough breaks, and I think with every other day you take off with no games, it's just going to be there's going to be some consequences there, in terms of making the schedule tighter. So as a coach, it doesn't affect my day or my life. We just go about our business, and whatever happens upstairs is out of our control, and we press on. So I think, of course, on a day like this, if you could give the guys a day off and find a way to make it work, it'd probably help everybody. But it's a tough league to get all 82 games in for every team.
How would you describe the growth in Johnny Kovacevic's game? Obviously, we saw him when he was in Montreal, but he's kind of like the picture-perfect example of what waivers are for. You get lost in the depth chart somewhere else, you get a chance, and then kind of grow into a really solid player.
Yeah, no question. He's been a real nice addition for us. He got a really good opportunity coming in because of the injuries we had early on with no Luke Hughes or Brett Pesce, and he exceeded our expectations, quite honestly. We knew we were getting. He's a tremendous guy, good teammate, works extremely hard, and is very coachable. Obviously, the size and reach and stuff that he has, but his play has been really good. And he and Jonas Siegenthaler in particular had been a tremendous pair for us, and a big part of our team's success in the early going of the season. So it's great to see his growth. And to your point, I think waivers, and sometimes it's just time. Players need time. Everybody's got a different path to their career. And we just talked about Brendan Dillon, who's an undrafted player, and here he is going strong in his career still. Some guys need time. Some guys need a change of scenery. Sometimes it takes 2-3 teams for whether it's a message to settle in, or to really find your footing and your true identity in the league, and kind of clear your head. And for every player it's different, but for Govey it seems to have worked really well here.
We didn't see him a ton when you were in Toronto, but you guys always had great games with the Jets. How would you describe their growth? Like, they've gone from a team that really kind of, I wouldn't say struggled with defending, but it wasn't a really committed area, to kind of being one of the best in the league at it.
Yeah, it does seem to be a team that's really gone through that growth, through the ups and downs, and some pain of losing, and the growth there. So I think there is some parallels to this group in Toronto and some here in New Jersey. Something that we've really prioritized, and I think we've made big steps in. And it's interesting, you come in here to the game here tonight, you've got the first and second lowest goals against teams in the NHL going out of here today, which I don't know if anybody in the league would have predicted that coming out of Winnipeg and New Jersey. So both teams have got combination, I think, of growth in their game defensively, and of course elite goaltending. So makes for a tough opponent, and Winnipeg certainly has now got everything that you want in terms of elite offense. That is not slowed down by an attention to detail on defense.
Go last one here.
Coach, it might be difficult to predict with the injuries, but if you do become fully healthy on the blue line, do you anticipate Dumoulin to be an everyday player when everyone's back?
Well, right now, with the group we have available, he's a very important player, and I expect he will be the rest of the way.